So we're still factoring trinomials. They just made the problems slightly more difficult. So one of two things, possibly two things, are going to happen on all of these questions. So if I start on the right-hand side, it's the easier of the two. We notice that we have some stuff on the left, some stuff on the right. So anytime we want to factor trinomials, we want to push everything to one side. So if this is the case, I want to move everything over. So I want to get rid of this 14x on the right side. So I'm just going to do minus 14x. So these will cancel out. Notice we don't have any just x terms here, so I'm just going to write all of this out. So x squared minus 14x plus 49. I don't even need to put the equal 0 over here because this is all we care about. I'm not really looking for the answer. I'm just looking to factor. Okay. So this is just like what we did yesterday now. I need to know what numbers for m and n will add up to give me negative 14. So I want the sum. No, wait. I don't know why I wrote the word sum. Space out here. I want m plus n to equal negative 14, but I want m times n to be positive 49. Okay, so I start thinking, what are my factors that are giving 49? And this one's kind of easy because 49 is, it only has one set of factors besides 1 and 49, and that is 7 and 7. And we know that the sum is negative 14, so those both need to be a negative 7. So negative 7 times negative 7 is positive 49. Negative 7 plus negative 7 is negative 14. That's what we're looking for. All done. Okay, so really the only thing we added here was moving everything over to make our trinomial look the way we want it. Okay, so if we go the other side now, this one's a little bit different. So we start off the same way. We still want to push everything to the left. So I'm going to do minus 175 first. Minus 175 over here. So this cancels. So we have 5x squared plus 10x minus 175. All right. So what's different here is now we have a term that isn't 1. Okay. So there's two ways we could get rid of that we could still factor it. And we're going to look at the second way next week, because it's a little bit more work. The easier way is if we look at all the terms we have here, we say, can we factor them all by that number? In this case, 5. So can I factor a 5 out from 5, 10, and 175? And the answer is yes, we can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide. That was supposed to be a different color. Divide it's supposed to be a different color. There it is. I'm going to divide everything by 5. So x squared, or 5x squared would just become x squared plus 2x minus 175 divided by 5 is 35. And now we don't really need it when we find our solutions, but for today, we're going to leave that 5 on the outside. Okay, we're just showing that we factored that out, so we put on the outside of the parentheses. So that way we could, if we wanted to, we could rewrite this back as the original equation was. But if we were actually solving it, you don't have to write this one down. Since this equals 0, I could divide both sides by 5, and then the 5 just disappears, because 0 divided by 5 is still 0. But for today, just so we can get the answers, we're going to leave that 5 there. Okay. So now I'm going to focus on this right here, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. So I want m plus n to equal this middle term, so 2. But I want m times n to equal negative 35. Okay. So our product's kind of big, but our sum is kind of small, so we know our two factors need to be pretty close together. So if I start thinking about my factors of 35, it's not going to be 1 and 35. Let's see, the only other one is 5 and 7. So let's say if I put x and 5, 2x and 7. And we'll put a line up here to separate these two so we know they're different. Then I just think about my signs. I know it's negative, my product, so I have to have different signs, one positive, one negative. And I know my sum is positive, which means my larger factor should be the positive, which would make my 5 my negative. I double check it. Negative 5 times 7 is negative 35. Negative 5 plus 7 is 2. This works out. And then don't forget, we still have this 5 on the outside. So if we factor this completely, we would have 5 times x minus 5, x plus 7. Okay, and again, we just put that 5 out there. In case we wanted to, we could refoil this, distribute out the 5, and we would get back to this exact equation at the top. Okay, because that's all we're doing. We're just rewriting the original equation in a way that would let us get the solutions much easier. Okay, but that's our goal. We're just factoring today. So try them out. They look kind of bad at first, but once you start doing them, be like, okay, I see the patterns. This isn't quite so bad. We only have 10 questions today. So remember, just always same 2 steps. Move everything to the left-hand side, and then we look for what 2 numbers will give us a sum of our middle term and a product of our ending term. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. You know the drill.